Hello there, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the things that your Filipina will have to learn when she migrate to the US. Is it migrate, immigrate? I think both, it's pretty close definition, right? So when your Filipina moves to the US, there's a lot of things that she will have to learn. It's like a big culture shock for sure, and there's a lot of learning curves. So the first thing would be learning the language. While most Filipinos speak English, there's a big difference when it comes to just speaking the language, like knowing how to speak the language versus um, actually having the ability to comprehend and the ability to carry a deep, meaningful conversation. I'm like a tongue twister. So for me, that was one of the challenges because when you're speaking to someone, in English, in full English, and that's not your mother tongue, is that how you call it? That's not your first language. You're constantly having to process that in your brain. You're constantly having to translate. It can be very difficult. When I first came here, there were times where I sat there and I kind of go blank, and my husband's like, "Are you okay?" But I'm like, "No, I'm processing. I'm trying to like translate all these words and trying to put them together to where they make sense." It's very difficult. So there's gonna be a language barrier, whether she is, well spoken in English or not. It's gonna be different. So it will take a good amount of time before she actually um, become expert in speaking the language and actually comprehending. But the best thing to do is to continue to talk to her, like talk to her in English, of course, because obviously you probably won't know how to speak Tagalog, but also allow her to like communicate with other people, not just you. Because with you, you might be, you might give her a pass if she makes a mistake. You may not want to offend her, so you probably will allow her to just, say things wrong, and you're probably able to understand her anyways. But the best way to learn the language is to continue to communicate, not just with you, but to everybody. There's also a lot of schools, especially community colleges, that offer some type of programs for non-speaking like students. If you wanna non-English speaking students, so if you wanna like learn to speak English, you can actually attend a school, and some community colleges actually offer this for a very good like low price. So make sure that as soon as she gets here, get into talking to her every day regularly. And if she says something that's grammarly, not just grammarly, like incorrect, don't hesitate to correct her. Of course, be gracious, be generous, okay? Don't be like offending her and anything. And I'm sure she will understand because most Filipinos are very eager to learn. They want to learn. They want to be able to assimilate into to the new environment, to the new country that they're in. So most likely she will be more than happy to accept your criticism, and as long as they're generous, and as long as you're nice about it. Okay, the other thing that she will have to learn is the driving. This was a very big challenge for me. At least I know of a lot of friends too that struggled with driving. In the Philippines, especially if you live, well, pretty much everywhere, city, province, you really don't need the need to learn how to drive, because we have transportation everywhere. And you come here and all of a sudden you're like, you're gonna have to drive, because here driving is not luxury. In the Philippines, owning a vehicle and driving the vehicle is a luxury. Only rich people really has access to, only rich people can afford to buy a car there. Here, even people that are considered low income has to have a car, because you can't really go anywhere without a car. So driving her here is a must. You have to learn how to drive. And for a lot of Filipinos, one of the challenges is driving in the highway. We're like so scared to, like, at least for me and some of my friends, my Filipino friends, that it's like the big challenge, learning how to drive in the highway. So she's gonna have a hard time. Yes, it's gonna be a struggle, but don't wait too long, because that's one of the things that I made a mistake on. I waited too long because I was too scared. I was too nervous. My husband ended up basically just pushing me, like, you're just gonna have to do this. So as soon as she's comfortable, at least 1 year, give it a year, get her that learner's permit and start giving her the chance to drive. Now, another thing is that it's probably going to be very difficult for you to teach her how to drive. It's really not a good idea to teach your spouse how to drive, There's a lot of places, well, companies that offer driving lessons here in the US, whether that's private or through the, the driver's licensing office in your area. Usually those are a little bit more affordable. So make sure you get her some classes, get her ready, and make sure that she knows that and understands how important it is how to drive. Because I think a lot of Filipinas also don't think much about it. They probably think, oh, my husband can drive for me. But the amount of freedom that she will access, that she will get when she starts driving is tremendous. And that's something I'm very thankful for my husband, that he pushed me to learn how to drive. So those are one of the two things that she will have to like learn first, the language, not just to like basic um, communicate in English, but to actually be able to comprehend, because that will benefit her not just in your relationship, but looking for a job, going for an interview. It's going to be extra challenging if you don't speak the language very well. Another thing, of course, the driving. Getting a job is going to be hard if she don't drive. So that's another thing she has to learn. And another thing that I do want to mention, may not want to talk about it for that long because this video is going to get too long, is allow your Filipino to learn how to manage your finances as a couple. Let her know how money works here in the US, because I think that could be challenging for some. I think it's important that she understand how money works, because I've heard of couples where the American usually kind of don't want the Filipino to learn that area. I'm not sure why. There might be, reason, but my husband's very like, he's very willing. He, as soon as I got here, he's like, I want you to learn how to manage your finances. I want you to know what we pay, what bills that has to be paid, because the more understanding she has of your financial situation, she can also apply that on her financial situation. After all, it's going to be a joint financial situation anyway, so it's good for her to learn, because how we manage money in the Philippines is a little bit different on how money is managed here in the US. In the US, you have credit cards, you've got all kinds of bills, you pay for everything here. Water, even rags that you use to map the floor, you have to pay for that. So it's a very different um, setup when it comes to finances. So it's good for her to learn as soon as possible. So those are the three things: the language, driving, and the finances. So there's so many other things that a Filipina will have to learn when she migrate. I'm gonna use that word, migrate here in the US, or move to the US, or come here to the US, whatever. So see, I'm still learning, right? I've been here for 15 years. Anyways, so I hope you picked up something from this. I'm like in a rush because I've got other things to do. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you have any question, leave it in the comments below. I hope you liked watching this. Please do subscribe if you do. See you on my next one. Bye!